Alex Eala just made a statement at the Australian Open, and she didn't arrive quietly. The Filipino rising star stepped onto the scene alongside Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Yes, you heard that right. She was casually training and moving with two of the biggest names in tennis right now. Fans are absolutely buzzing because this isn't just about sharing practice courts or photo ops. This is about respect. This is about recognition. When you see Alex working closely with elite champions like Alcaraz and Sinner, it signals something much bigger. The tennis world is taking her rise seriously. Moments like this can change a career. Training with top-tier players sharpens your game, builds confidence, and elevates your mindset. The question now is, could this be the push Alex needs to break into the top 30 this season? Let's get one thing straight. When you show up to a Grand Slam alongside Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, you're not just another player hoping to make noise. You're someone elite athletes respect enough to train with, travel with, and publicly associate with. That doesn't happen by chance. That's earned. When Alex Eala arrived at the Australian Open with two of the brightest stars in the sport, tennis social media exploded. Fans flooded timelines with photos and videos of the trio together. And instantly, the questions started rolling in. How did this happen? When did Eala become close enough with Alcaraz and Sinner to roll into Melbourne together? And most importantly, what does this mean for her career trajectory? Here's the context you need. Alex Eala trains at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, one of the most respected high-performance training environments in the world. This isn't just a facility. It's a pipeline for elite development. The culture there is built around discipline, intensity, and competing at the highest level every single day. And remember, that academy was founded by Rafael Nadal, a 22-time Grand Slam champion who understands exactly what it takes to dominate the sport. When you come up in that system, you're not just learning strokes. You're absorbing championship standards. So when Eala is seen alongside players like Alcaraz and Sinner, it's not random. It's a reflection of the circles she's moving in. It shows she's training in elite environments, building real relationships, and earning respect behind closed doors long before the cameras catch it. The bigger question now is this. Is this the moment where proximity turns into performance? Because when you consistently train with the best, eventually you start believing you belong with the best. And that mindset shift, that's often what separates top 50 players from top 30 contenders. The tennis world is watching.
First time I met Rafa, I was on the way to his academy. Oh my gosh, I was on the way to his academy because I was gonna try it out before we committed. I was just gonna try it out for a week, and then we ran into him in the airport, in the Madrid airport, and it's kind of embarrassing to say, we kind of ran after him. Like, not ran after, but we were fanning, fangirling, and then we told him, oh, we're going to your academy and stuff like that.
That's not just any tennis facility.
I would think this is a place for someone to learn new things and someone to be exposed to professionalism in tennis, to learn how to be disciplined and to learn how to socialize as well.
You're absolutely right. That academy isn't just a tennis facility. It's a finishing school for champions. The Rafa Nadal Academy isn't just about forehands and backhands. It's about learning professionalism, discipline, structure, and even how to carry yourself as a global athlete. It's where elite players sharpen their skills under world-class coaching and are immersed in a culture built around excellence. Carlos Alcaraz has strong ties to that Spanish high-performance system, and Jannik Sinner is known for training in top European environments during the off-season. So when Alex Eala is operating in those same circles, that tells you everything about how seriously her potential is being viewed. You don't get invited into those sessions unless coaches believe you belong. You don't rally with a multiple Grand Slam champion and former world number one unless you can push him in practice. Now look at the timing. Alex just broke into the top 50 of the WTA rankings after her semi-final run at the ASB Classic in Auckland. For a Filipino athlete coming from a country without the same tennis infrastructure as the US or Spain, that milestone is enormous. And this rise hasn't been slow. It's been explosive. Her real breakthrough came at the Miami Open, where she stormed into the semi-finals and stunned Iga Swiatek, a former world number one and multiple Grand Slam champion. That wasn't luck. That was a declaration. After Miami, she reached her first WTA final at the Eastbourne International. These aren't small stops on the calendar. These are elite-level events stacked with top players. In a matter of months, Alex went from relative obscurity and ITF-level grind to guaranteed Grand Slam main draws and standing shoulder to shoulder with the sport's biggest stars at the Australian Open. And optics matter. When fans see her arriving alongside Alcaraz and Sinner, the message is clear. She's not just a promising prospect anymore. She's being treated as part of the next generation's inner circle. Now let's talk development. Training with players like Alcaraz and Sinner forces evolution. There's no hiding weaknesses. If your second serve sits up, it gets crushed. If your footwork is half a step slow, you lose the rally. Every drill becomes a test. That kind of environment accelerates growth, sharpens decision-making, raises intensity, builds belief. And sometimes, belief is the final barrier between top 50 and top 30. The question isn't whether Alex belongs in those practice sessions anymore. The real question is, how fast will the rankings reflect what the tennis elite already seem to know? Your footwork has to be sharper. Your shot selection has to be smarter. Your mental toughness has to be stronger. That's the standard when you're sharing a court with players like Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Alcaraz brings explosive athleticism and relentless baseline aggression. Hitting with him means experiencing the exact pace and power you'll face against the very best in the world. Every rally becomes a sprint. Every short ball gets punished. Sinner presents a different test. His consistency, clean ball striking, and ability to redirect pace make him one of the toughest players to break down. Practicing against that style prepares Alex Eala for the long, grinding physical battles required to climb the rankings. But the real advantage isn't just technical. It's psychological. When you practice with Grand Slam champions and former world number one players, something shifts internally. The top of the sport stops feeling distant, becomes tangible. You're not watching greatness on TV, you're trading shots with it. That proximity builds belief. And belief changes careers. Now look at the opportunity in front of her at the Australian Open. Last year, she exited in the first round of qualifying, meaning she's defending almost no ranking points in Melbourne. Every win this year is pure upside. A couple of victories could push her toward the top 40. Maybe even higher. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Her ranking trajectory over the next few months is perfectly set up for a leap. She's only defending 390 points through March, including her huge run at the Miami Open last season. But this year, she'll enter bigger events automatically, which means more chances to earn substantial points. If she maintains anything close to her current form, a top 32 ranking by the time Roland Garros arrives isn't unrealistic. And that would mean being seeded at a Grand Slam. For someone who was grinding ITF events not long ago, that's an extraordinary rise. Meanwhile, the Philippines is rallying behind her in a massive way. Tennis may not traditionally rival basketball or boxing there, but Alex is changing that narrative. Filipino fans showed up in force at the ASB Classic, and they're doing the same in Melbourne. After defeating Donna Vekic at a Melbourne warm-up event, Alex made a statement that should put the tour on notice. "This is the best I've ever played. I'm in a good moment." That's not arrogance. That's earned confidence. She beat Vekic twice in 1 week. First in a gritty 3-set battle in Auckland, then more convincingly days later. That progression shows something elite competitors possess. Rapid adjustment. She learns fast. She adapts. She improves immediately. Now let's address the critics. Some will say arriving with Alcaraz and Sinner is just good PR, that it doesn't mean anything. That argument doesn't hold up. At the highest level, time is currency. Elite players don't waste it on publicity stunts. If Alcaraz and Sinner are sharing practice blocks with Eala, it's because she brings quality to the court. Because she can challenge them. Because she belongs in those sessions. The elite tennis circle is small. Reputations spread quickly. If you don't have the level or the mentality, you won't get invited back. The fact that she's integrated into those circles speaks volumes about how her peers view her. And there's a practical side to this too. During Grand Slams, high-quality training partners are essential. Players need sharp, competitive practice sessions between matches to stay in rhythm. Being part of that trusted inner circle ensures she's not just present at majors. She's embedded within the competitive ecosystem of the sport's next generation. That's not hype. That's positioning. And positioning like this often comes right before a breakthrough. Having someone like Alex Eala in your practice block is not a favor. It's an asset. When you're in great form, capable of replicating different playing styles, and competitive enough not to take a single rally off, you become valuable to elite players like Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. This isn't a one-sided relationship. Alcaraz and Sinner get a hungry, fearless practice partner who pushes them at full intensity. Alex gets priceless exposure, rallying with Grand Slam champions, observing how they prepare, how they recover, how they think during a major. That kind of mutually beneficial setup only happens when everyone involved brings real value to the court. The road ahead after the Australian Open, her schedule moves to the Middle East swing and then into the North American hardcourt stretch. She doesn't even need to win titles to surge up the rankings. Consistent quarterfinals and semifinals at big events would be enough to skyrocket her position. Some fans are comparing her rise to Emma Raducanu, but that's not quite the right parallel. Raducanu's breakthrough came with a historic US Open title run as a qualifier. Magical, but followed by injuries and immense pressure. Eala's climb feels different. And structured, sustainable. Built on steady progression rather than one lightning strike tournament. Built at the Rafa Nadal Academy for training at the Rafa Nadal Academy gives her access to world-class facilities and championship standards every single day. She's even spoken about receiving tips from Rafael Nadal himself. When one of the greatest players in history shares insights with you, that accelerates development, technically and mentally. Why she's dangerous technically, her game is well-rounded. Serve, steadily improving ground strokes, powerful and reliable movement, explosive and balanced mental game. Mature beyond her 20 years, but what truly separates her is fearlessness. At the Miami Open, when she faced Iga Swiatek, she didn't look like a player grateful to share the court with a champion. She played to win, and she did. That mentality is rare. Many young players tighten up against top opponents. Eala swings freely. She trusts her preparation. She competes with intensity that commands respect. Melbourne is a real test the Australian Open's conditions. Heat, long rallies, physical demand, reward peak fitness and mental toughness. He checks both boxes. If the draw breaks her way, avoiding the absolute top seeds early, a fourth-round run isn't unrealistic. A quarter-final would be sensational, but not impossible given her trajectory. And here's the key. Regardless of how deep she goes in Melbourne, the message is already clear. Alex Eala isn't a one-tournament story. She isn't hype. She isn't just a promising prospect. She's a legitimate force training with champions and competing like one. The Filipino flag is flying high in global tennis right now, and she's carrying it with pride, composure, and quiet confidence. So now the big question. At this year's Australian Open, who goes further? Alex Eala or Carlos Alcaraz?